Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my video on how to fight gankers, gonkers, co-opers, PvEers, whatever you want to call them. For the sake of this video I'm going to refer to them as gankers. I think it's important to know how to fight more than one opponent because of the way the game works with the Sinister Bell. When you ring the Sinister Bell, there's a good chance that you're going to be encountering more than one opponent at a time, as I'm sure you probably know by now. I don't profess myself to be a god tier player when it comes to fighting multiple opponents, but it's easily my favourite aspect of the game, and I think it's important to know tips, techniques and manoeuvres you can do to give you the upper hand in a 2 or 3v1 situation. I'll be covering weapons, what weapons are useful, what weapons to watch out for, what items are useful, what items to watch out for as well, how to use the environment to your advantage, common ganker habits that you can use to work in your favour. I'll be covering some pro tips and some things to watch out for. So without any further ado, I hope you guys enjoy the video and find it entertaining and instructive. Thank you. Now, when fighting multiple opponents, as with, fighting anything in this game, the most important tool is going to be the weapon in your right hand. For fighting multiple opponents, my favourite is the threaded cane. I also use the amygdala arm a lot. You can also use hunter's axe, beast cutters, basically any weapon with a sweeping arc. They're ideal for getting hits in on multiple opponents. I prefer the threaded cane because it's the fastest. Alternatively, you could use weapons with hyper armor to give you an advantage in damage trades, or to utilize insane hyper armor frames on, like the Kirk Hammer charged R2 for example, just so you can't get staggered out of it. Alternatively, if you prefer hit and run fast weapons, you could use Blade of Mercy, the Saw Spear, Saw Cleaver, weapons like that to get in and out of your opponents, getting quick hits on them. That also works well. One thing you want to watch out for in particular is people who will dash R1, dash R1, dash R1 with fast weapons like, say, the Blade of Mercy, Trick Gregarious Wheel, Saw Spear, Saw Cleaver. Those sorts of weapons, those people can make things very problematic. The best way to counter them is to have a shotgun to hand, blunderbuss or Ludwig's rifle. Another way to counter them is to use Beast Roar. Beast roar them away from you, Beast Roar them off a ledge, Beast Roar them off a cliff if you can. Gravity is always your ally. Right, I'm going to move on to items now. It's always good to have a diverse selection of items in your hotbar. My first item of choice is usually the blue elixir. Obviously, if they haven't seen you yet, they don't know where you are, you could drink one of those to try and sneak up behind them and then pull off a backstab. If you're lucky, if you've got high enough damage or their health's low, you might be able to take one of them out straight away, making your job that much easier. Or if you're running away from them, you do manage to put a bit of distance between them and you could drink one of them and then run off to find a decent enough hiding spot where you can heal, get yourself blood bullets, put a buff on your weapon, switch your weapons, whatever it is you feel like you need to do. If you are higher up than them and they would typically be able to see you, you could use one of those out of sight and try and get a supplies plunging attack on them, leaving them with low or maybe even no health in some cases, and then proceed to heal parry once they back away, or attack them, whatever you deem necessary to take them out after that. Lead elixir is handy to have as well. I actually find it very, very, very useful in 2 or 3v1 situations. An ideal way to use it would be out of sight, so they can't see you drinking it, especially if these people are just relentless, coming at you, attacking, just trying to murder you basically. If they can't see you pop it, they'll come round and they'll keep attacking you, and it usually will take them a few hits to realise that their attacks are just bouncing off you and doing less damage. Ideally, you want to have a weapon with a high regain when you do this, so the hunter axe works well, the burial blade is ideal, or maybe even most weapons if you've got the guidance. I think it's the guidance rune that gives you extra regain, that rune. Doing it in a hallway is a good plan because you can usually line them all up, and if you haven't got weapons with wide sweeping arcs, if you've got like a Kirk Hammer or a Saw Cleaver or something, you can just spam them to death without them getting too far around you. Just try and make sure you can hit all of them at once to reap the maximum benefit of this. If there's an elevator nearby, go in the elevator, try and lure at least one of them in there, because they will be at your mercy until that elevator stops, especially if you've got the whirligig saw. You know, if you do happen to have that weapon, just use the L2 and cut them down to size. There's like literally nothing they can do. I've done it multiple times before and it's worked every time, and it's hilarious to do. Bone marrow ash is another useful item to have on your hotbar. It can be used in a few situations, aside from just putting it on your gun over and over again and spamming. Even at 8 blood tinge you can have the repeating pistol, and although it takes up 2 bullets, it can still put out decent damage at minimal blood tinge with a decent blood gem, say the one you get from Murgo's Loft or one in the Chalice dungeons if you've gotten that far. You can use it on, if you use it on a cooperator, because of their 30% HP penalty, it's going to take off a good chunk of their health, and after that odds are they're probably going to want to dash away and heal. You can use that as an opportunity to heal parry, or if you haven't got the heal parry time down, it's still a good idea to give you some space maybe to focus on other opponents. Another way to use it is to just simply have it on your gun, especially if it's a gun like the Evelyn that's going to typically do high damage. It could force your opponents to play a bit more defensively, as for fear of getting shot of a high damage gun. That can be useful for just giving yourself a bit of space. Knowing the environment around you is also very important. Where the insta-death balls are, I shouldn't really have to explain why that is important to know why those are. But you can use them to your advantage if you've got a weapon with decent knockback, or even better if you've got Beast Roar, you could use it to get a pretty easy kill and to reduce the number of opponents coming at you, so you could work that for your advantage. Even drops that don't result in instant death, if you manage to throw your enemies off there with a Beast Roar, or again with a weapon that has knockback, or even if they're just standing right on the edge, if you hit them with a gun or your weapon, they might fall back and then go through that certain animation that has them immobile on the floor for a few seconds afterwards. During that time they will be vulnerable to a plunging attack, which is going to inflict very high damage on them. So that's always a good thing to keep in mind. Do that when you can. Just be a bit wary, because if you knock someone off the edge and his friends are coming straight for you, there's a good chance they're going to plunge attack you straight afterwards, and you don't want that to end up killing you. Obviously take advantage of the NPC enemies dotted around the level as well. Those people that are brave enough to come near you when you're around those enemies in the environment are probably going to come at them and want to kill them very fast, so you can take advantage of their spamming attacks by getting a well-timed gunshot in between their attacks and hopefully getting a visceral attack and coming in for the punish. Could be a very easy kill if you time it right, you play your cards right. Alright, so I've been bringing up heal parries a couple of times. That's because that's one of the most effective ways of dealing with gankers. Even if they're, even if you don't have a skill build and you've got, like, say, a strength build like I have in most of these, it's still a very effective way of doing them, because obviously they're only going to heal when they're at, like, a third, a half, 2/3 HP. It's good to know how to recognise when an opponent's going to heal. So when you're attacking gankers head on and they're healing, pay attention to when they're healing, like kind of what amount of health they get to before they do back off and heal, and like how many dodges they do backwards, because some opponents do 1 dodge, some opponents do 2 dodges, some even might just heal there on the spot expecting their ganker friends to cover them. You'll see me making that mistake in this video. I tend to go for the heal parry every time. Luckily for me, it doesn't really seem to change my opponent's strategies when they go for heals, but it's still important to do. Sometimes you might have to be patient with your heal parries, otherwise they might recognise that you're just completely going for it, and they might learn that they need to run off and take cover, or they might change their heal timings. So it's important to know what your heal timings are. If you're not entirely comfortable with them, if you don't have the timing down, I do recommend Jutus1988's video. I will put a link to that in the description. If you find your opponents are either just like too good at dodging, or all just staying around you off screen where you can't see them, just completely surrounding you, it's always good to just kind of back up away from the situation and try and find, say, ideally a corridor. A doorway would do the trick as well, just somewhere where you can funnel them all. You can funnel all your enemies into a narrow place where you can see and potentially hit them all as well. Obviously in the corridor you want to be using a weapon with good range and, you know, vertical attacks. Horizontal attacks you might just end up bouncing off the walls and, you know, just get hit before you get a chance to hit your enemies. Another thing you can do, if you run away and you do manage to put a little bit of distance between you and your enemies, literally rounding a corner and on the edge of the corner just out of their sight, if you start charging a charge attack, make sure you're unlocked and then aim it with the left analog stick. That can be a game changer, especially with a high damage weapon like the Kirk hammer, or the stake driver works really well for it. Anything like that that could potentially one-shot an opponent could be a very wise decision to make if you're, you know, if you don't have the upper hand. You never know, you might eliminate one of your opponents then and there on the spot, so it's always worth giving it at least a try. Right, also a few things to watch out for, a few things I would consider important. One good tip is not to get trapped in a corner, because that could leave you very open for you know, them to just surround you against the corner and just keep attacking away, blocking off your escape, giving you quite literally no way to get out of there. If they have, you know, decently high stamina, they can just keep attacking, and eventually they're going to hit you. So try not to get trapped in a corner. Let's see, stun locking, you know, that kind of goes, well, stun locking can be a little different, but you don't want to get caught in stun locks as well. Obviously that's gonna make it harder for you to get out of there, and it's going to drain your HP very fast, you know, especially if these people have good blood gems. It's just going to, you know, get you killed in a few seconds. So that's why it's not a good idea to always engage enemies just, like, you know, mindlessly head on, because, you know, apart from the risk of getting parried, you've got the risk of getting stun locked, which is going to happen a lot more. Opponents running away from you, when opponents run away from you, like literally turn around and run for the boss fog or wherever they plan on going, don't be tempted to shoot them, because if your bullet misses them, your character's gonna stop to shoot, but their character's just gonna keep on running, and they're gonna put even more distance between them and you. So that's never really a good idea, unless they're passing through enemies, in which case you could be able to shoot them and stagger them, just to make them stop for a moment, just to make them, you know, get staggered for a moment so an enemy can hit them, could be useful. People with guns, people who are heavy on their guns in gank situations, they're always problematic, whether they're high damage or not. If they're not high damage guns, you know, they can still stagger you and leave you open to getting hit, or obviously they could, you know, get the parry on you if they're not careful, if you're not careful, sorry. But high damage guns, obviously, very problematic. The only reliable way I can counter them is just by finding a nice open area where I won't get stuck on anything, where I can just dodge freely, keep them far away so you can dodge their bullets after they come out, but close enough that they're still going to want to shoot you. Just keep letting them shoot, because eventually either they're going to run out of bullets, or they're going to want to make more blood bullets, and once they make blood bullets they're going to want to heal straight after, and because they've got, you know, they've just given up a percentage of their health to get the blood bullets, there's a good chance you're going to be able to kill them with the heal parry. So that's always an opportune moment to counter gun spammers, and I imagine that will work for arcane users as well. I mean, I really don't encounter that many of them, but I would imagine employing the same techniques does, you know, just dodge all their arcane, wait for them to either run out of bullets so you can attack them, or if they go to make blood bullets, just use that as an opportunity to take them out there on the spot. And I think that's all I've got. I would like to thank anyone who watched this video for watching this video. I understand it's probably a little bit cringeworthy at the least, because it's the first time I've ever done post commentary, and it's really weird just talking to myself in all honesty. But if you've stuck around for this long and you found any of it helpful, or you liked watching the videos at all, whatever, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. Would really appreciate it. As it stands now, I've got 9 subscribers, so, you know. But anyway, yeah, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see anybody who stuck around in my next video. Thank you. Goodbye.